The number one city to live in Tennessee is Chattanooga, Tennessee. So according to US News, they came out with a poll of the top 100 cities to live in the United States, and Chattanooga, Tennessee came in at number 27 in the whole US and number 1 in the state of Tennessee. And today we're going to go over the article, go through almost every section of the article. I'm going to expand in the different reasons and the different metrics that they have used to show why Chattanooga is the number 1 city in Tennessee to live in. All right, so jumping right into the article, which I'll have linked below, according to USA News, obviously, like I talked about, Chattanooga is number 27 in best places to live in the US and number 1 in Tennessee. And we're gonna go through the article. First, we're gonna do an overview, then we'll jump into job markets, schools, crime, and the last thing on the article is photos. But you know, what's better than photos? Let's do some drone shots and some drive-bys. So if you stick to the end of the video, or you just want to hop there and kind of see drone photos of all over the Chattanooga area or drive-bys of neighborhoods and stuff like that, you can go ahead and do so. Maybe I'll do 1 to 5 minutes worth of drone shots just so you can get a better picture of the area and see what it actually looks like. So let's jump right into it. I'm going to reference the article a lot and I'll pause and kind of expand on things. But the first thing that it discusses is the overview of why Chattanooga is such a desirable spot and a place where people want to live. So as this article starts, it talks about how Chattanooga used to be called, according to Walter Cronkite, which was a news anchor, the dirtiest city in America, to in 2005 when they spent over, what was it, $120 million to renovate the whole downtown or waterfront area, which brought in the aquarium. It brought many things to kind of revitalize and clean up the dirty city aspect, or the name that it's had for a long time. And after that revitalization, EPB Fiber Optics was essentially born, bringing in the country's fastest fiber optics internet in the early 2000s. And that brought a ton of jobs and a ton of employers that were in the area, but also to entrepreneurs in the tech industry as well. And then we get to the point in the article where we explore some quick facts. So the metro population, and again, this is Chattanooga city limits. We're not talking about the county or the surrounding counties. I believe the county of Hamilton County is about almost to 400,000, but the city limit of Chattanooga is 207,000. The median age of the city is 39 years old, which is rather young. It's filled with young adults, young families, people that just kind of love the area, and we'll get into the outdoorsy type stuff. The median home price, according to the article, is $247,000 or $248,000, which I believe, and I have access to the MLS, and I can kind of see what the actual prices are actually more expensive, and I'll get into that when we get to the housing section. The median household income, which is $68,000. The median monthly rent is $1,125, and the unemployment rate in Chattanooga is 5.12%. And the next part of the article is, what is there to do in Chattanooga? And Chattanooga is an outdoor nature mountainous paradise. A lot of people that live here love the outdoors. Not everybody, but most people do. And there's no shortage of mountain biking trails, hiking trails, rock climbing, hang gliding. I mean, there's anything that you desire to do, rafting, whitewater rafting, not in Chattanooga technically, probably 45 minutes away, but anything outdoorsy wise, there's plenty of that to do here, and we're surrounded by mountains, so the nature feeling that you get here is absolutely amazing. And that's kind of what the article kind of touches on the next section when it says, what is there to do in Chattanooga, Tennessee? I'm a real estate agent here in the Chattanooga area. If you guys are looking to move to the area, we would love the opportunity to help you guys make the move. We love helping people move from here. We didn't grow up here. We moved here from a different state and fell in love with the area. Feel free to reach out to us on the number on your screen. We would absolutely love to help you. Another cool thing or aspect of the city is that you have the Chattanooga Riverwalk, which according to the article says 16 miles, but it's more like 13, 14 miles. That kind of goes along the Tennessee River. And there's about 30 acres worth of public land and sculptures and art paintings and playgrounds that you can find along the Riverwalk. It's absolutely cool. You can park at one end, take some bikes, maybe even go for a run. We've taken our kids there many different times and just kind of bike the whole thing. You go through downtown, maybe you can stop and go into the aquarium. It's a nice Riverwalk that you can have, and definitely cool to experience with your family or a significant other, or just go for a jog and enjoy the outdoors. Another cool thing about things to do is that it mentions that there's a lot of parks in the area, and that's definitely true. One of the cool parks that we have downtown is called Coolidge Park, and And Coolidge Park has a over 100-year-old carousel. I think it was in the 1890s that carousel was originally built. It has about 30 hand-carved animals, and obviously it's been refurbished, but we take our kids there all the time. It's $1 per person or per kid, and you can ride the carousel a couple of times. It's definitely a cool little thing that you can do and take your family. Another thing that Coolidge Park has is a interactive play water fountain is what they call it, but it's really nice when it opens up in the beginning of May all the way up to Labor Day. So it's really during the summer hours where it's super hot, super muggy, and you just want to cool off. You can let your kids kind of run around the fountain. I mean, even me sometimes and my wife, we kind of get in there, get wet, and get cooled down. It's nice to have a park where the kids can run and play, have this really neat carousel, but also cool down with this water fountain that they have there. Another cool park that they have along the Riverwalk is the Renaissance Park, and I believe it's about 20 acres of kind of like a wetland marsh type of feel, but there's a bunch of little overlooks, there's a bunch of picnic tables, and it's right along the river. There's a bunch of places that you can take photos or just go for picnics, and it's really nice to have right next to downtown, right next to Coolidge Park. You have the bridge right there to where you can just get on the bridge and walk towards downtown, or you can stay on the northern part of the river where you have a bunch of little restaurants and a bunch of little places to go. And the next thing that the article talks about is the cost of living in Chattanooga, Tennessee. So the cost of living in Chattanooga, Tennessee is below the national average as far as the housing prices. I think they're a little bit more expensive than what this article is portraying. For example, on the MLS, I'm a real estate agent. I have access to the MLS and seeing what everything gets sold. According to the MLS, the median price point year to date as of what month? As of May 2024, because again, our statistics are typically the month prior, even though it's June today, is $321,000 for the median price point in the city of Chattanooga. Now, also, if you go to redfin.com, the national median price is not what the article is saying, which is $281,000. The national median price, according to Redfin, is $432,000. So I think the numbers are a little bit wrong on the article, but still relatively the same as far as Chattanooga is below the national average when it comes to median home prices in Chattanooga. So the next part of the article talks about weather in Chattanooga, and it gives you many different temperatures as far as average seasonal temperatures, average seasonal rainfall, and I'm going to put all this on the screen so you can see. So the average temperatures in the different times of the year, the average winter temperature is 47 degrees, the average fall is 62 degrees, spring is 63 degrees, and summer is 79 degrees. And you couple that with the average rainfall. In winter you get about 2 inches, in fall you get about 11 inches, in spring you get 16 inches, and in the summer you get 2 inches. So as you can see here, the fall and the spring are definitely the wetter seasons. Now, something that I will say, in the winter it definitely feels like it rains a lot more, but again, we get a lot more drizzly, very light rain when it's kind of gray and gloomy. And if you guys are looking for more exact numbers as far as weather, I go through humidity and wind chill and all this type of stuff. I'll link, I believe, over here the video that I did on weather in Chattanooga. You can check that out, but this is kind of just a general overview. And also it'll break down here between the monthly temperatures, highs and lows. So as you can see, yes, the average temperature in the winter is 47 degrees, but you know, in January is the coldest month of the year. You can get lows over here, says 34 degrees, but sometimes you'll get single digits for a couple days. Definitely get into the 20s for a week or two. So yes, the average is 47, but realistically you are going to get 20s for a couple weeks, and more than likely it's going to be in the 30s. Another thing I'm going to do is on the screen I'm going to put something from Weather Spark, which shows the actual rain that you can get per month, and not just like, you know, for the different 4 seasons. This way you can get a better idea of how much rain you get per month. And another thing that the article has not talked about is the humidity that you're going to find in Chattanooga. Now, I grew up in Florida, and Chattanooga definitely does not get close to the humidity that you go in Florida. Florida, I think, gets about 90-95% humidity. Although it's not as bad as Florida, it still is pretty humid. And I'll go ahead and put a chart on the screen for you to check out. The humidity does get to about 80 to 85% in kind of July, September timeframes of the year. So is it as bad as Florida? Absolutely not, but it's still pretty bad, and it is still humid. So if you're coming from the West Coast or different parts of the country where it's a lot more drier, this is something that you're going to have to get used to. So just expect that you are going to get humidity here in Chattanooga as well. The next thing the article talks about is commuting and the best way to commute. In Chattanooga, you're definitely going to need a personal vehicle. The public transportation, we have, you know, buses and some bike rack things that you can rent things out. But unless you live closer to downtown, for the most part, you are going to have a personal vehicle to get to or from places or just pay for Uber. So the average commute time to Chattanooga is 24 minutes, which is below the national average, which is definitely a plus. The next thing we're going to touch on is the demographics that the article goes through. And as you can see from the screen, the age distribution is pretty wide. And like I talked about earlier, the average age is 39. And what you'll see here is that there's a lot more single people in Chattanooga. 57% are single compared to 42% are married. Now, if you are single and you're looking to find a significant other, great. We have a bunch of single people, as you can tell. But something that I am going to mention is that Chattanooga is not a party city. Now, if you just need to go to the bar and just have a drink and have a good time here and there, that's totally doable here. But if you are big into partying, big into nightlife and clubbing and dancing, doing all those things, you are not going to find a huge, vibrant life here in Chattanooga. We have that 2 hours north in Nashville or 2 hours south in Atlanta. So if that's a big part of your life and you want to continue to do that, you will not find that here in Chattanooga. But if that's not something that you're looking for, if you just want to go out, have fun with friends and meet people, we definitely have a lot of single people, as the demographic shows, something to take into account. The next thing we're going to talk about is the job market, which the article starts to pinpoint. As I discussed previously, we have EPB fiber optics, and EPB has been a big part of bringing a lot of tech companies and bringing a lot of stay-at-home workers or just companies that rely on that type of technology. At this point, they rolled out 25 gigabytes of download speed, which is absolutely crazy. But their basic package has 1 gigabyte of download speed for like $60. It's super affordable, and that brings a lot of people that work from home, but also companies that rely on that technology. Other huge employers in the area that you can see from the list that they provided, you have Erlanger Health System, which is one of the hospitals here. You have CHI Memorial, which is the other hospital system here, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Tennessee, Hamilton County Schools, Tennessee Valley Authority, which is a government company, or whatever, however you call it. They provide power for about 6 to 8 states within the area. You have Volkswagen Group, which is they produce Passats and the Atlas here, and you have McKee Foods Corp, which produce all the Little Debbie snack cakes. These are the main big employers that you can find in the area, but there's plenty of other employers. Like you have Shaw Industries, which is the biggest carpet manufacturer in the world. They have plants here in, I believe, in Ottawa, but they have some in Ringgold, right over the border into Georgia. You have a Whirlpool manufacturer in Cleveland. You have FedEx hubs and Amazon hubs. You have a bunch of different employers as well. So the job market here definitely has a lot of jobs, as you can see from the low unemployment rate, which is below the national average. So the unemployment rate in Chattanooga is 5.1 and the national average is 5.3. Not that much lower, but still below the national average. Now, the income that you can find here, the median household income for Chattanooga is $68,000 and the national average is $75,000. So again, it is cheaper cost of living to live here, so our income is a little bit lower, but it's proportional compared to the national average. And the job market index that the article gives is 6.3 out of 10, which states that Chattanooga has a healthier job market than compared to similarly sized metro areas. The next thing that the article discusses is school systems. Now, if you want a rundown of the whole list of different school systems that you can find in the area, click above here. I made a whole video talking about Niche.com's 2024 list of schools. I go way more in depth and talk more about the areas and all that. Just check that video out. According to the article here, Chattanooga has a lower score than similarly sized metro areas for school, which they give 4.7 out of 10, which is their college readiness index. One thing that I do like about the school systems here is the student-teacher ratio is 15:1. I grew up in a big city, Miami, Florida, so we had way more students to teacher ratio, but I still think that's a healthy ratio there. So if you're looking for a very strong school system, again, even though the county doesn't have as good of a grade compared to this website here and the video, I'll just spoiler alert, it's number 7 on the list of the top 10 schools within the area. That doesn't mean that all the schools are bad. There are definitely better schools than other, and if you just go ahead and either see this video or just search Niche.com 2024 Chattanooga school systems, you're gonna find the list and you can do your own research. There are better schools that you can find. Not all of them are bad and not all of them are good, but this is just a good indication if this is something that's very important to you. Definitely look into, and I believe this only takes into account public schools. Now, if you're doing private schools, that's a whole different conversation. We have a lot of good private schools, but obviously you have to pay for it. So the school system, this is kind of what the part of the article talks about. check out the video. I have a lot more resources and information there. The next thing the article talks about is the crime here. So according to the article, it gives Chattanooga 6.5 out of 10, and it says Chattanooga has a higher crime rate than similarly sized metro areas. Okay, Chattanooga does have an above average crime rate when compared to the national average. I've done many other videos that talk about crime rate, but just to give you a comparison, I typically use crimegrade.org because you can go on there and you can see the map of exactly where certain grades are given. So according to crimegrade.org, Chattanooga gets a score of C-, and according to them, a crime is committed every 22 minutes in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area. And now we're going to compare the other cities in Tennessee. So according to crimegrade.org, Nashville gets a score of D, and a crime occurs every 4 minutes. Knoxville gets a score of, I believe, C, and a crime occurs every 14 minutes. And in Memphis, they get a score of D, and a crime occurs every 7 minutes. So that's just to give you a comparison. Again, it's according to crimegrade.org. Go ahead and check their website out. You can see everything that they have posted there, but those are the scores that they're given. And again, according to the article, we get a 6.5 out of 10, not the best, below the or above the national average when you compare to crime rates. All right, so this is the part of the video where they go into photos. And like I mentioned earlier, we're not gonna do photos, we're just gonna go ahead and do drone shots. But before we get there, I'm a real estate agent here in the Chattanooga area. If you guys are looking to move to the area, we would love the opportunity to help you guys make the move. We love helping people move from here. We didn't grow up here, we moved here from a different state and fell in love with the area. So if you have any questions, you want to know, about areas, about families, schools, all this type of stuff that I was not able to answer specifically in this video, feel free to reach out to us on the number on your screen. We would absolutely love to help you. So with that being said, go ahead and enjoy the drone shots. But until next time, take care and God bless.